Mr. Daggett, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Siamak, thank you. It's great to meet with you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. What did motivate you to run against Kit Ellison?
Yeah, what motivated me to run for office is my love for my country, but also my concern for my country. And I do believe that we are going in the wrong direction. Economically, we're still struggling for economic recovery. And I would say that the reason because of that is because the policies of the government are not helping job creation, and they're not helping people to be able to lead and build a prosperous life, but actually that government policies are hindering that. And so that I want to get elected to Congress to make sure that people can use their passions and skills and talents that they have to live the best life. And again, that's the role of government, is to make sure that it has policies that can allow people to use their talents in the best way possible. So that's again my love for my country and concern for my country that we're heading in the wrong direction.
How tough has it been for you to run in a community so, as we call it, blue?
Yeah. You know, it's a challenge, but it's a great. I take joy in it, and it's an honor as well. I fully believe that the principles that I stand for, the values that I stand for, are in the best interest of all people, whether they consider themselves Democrats or Republicans or Independents. The policies and values that I have. So it's a challenge being considered a very blue district, very Democrat. But again, I know that the principles and values and my desire to see all people be able to prosper, that I have their best interests at heart, that it gives me, and as I've been out talking to people all across the congressional district, the encouragement that I get from people, whether they're Democrats or Independents as well.
I think it's going to be, this is going to be a wave election, it's going to be a Republican year.
I think it's certainly looking that way. You know, it kind of concerns me a little bit how things go back and forth every 2 years, and I think some consistency would be nice. And again, it is certainly trending that it's going to be a good year for Republicans, and then that's time for us to produce results, have courage to stand up for what we believe in.
Do you think Al Franken will lose his seat?
It is showing that it's going to be a close election, and I know Mike McFadden is a great man. With the right principles and values, he has helped businesses succeed. I know that he will look after the long-term best interest of all the constituents as well.
How about the governor?
Well, I think that's going to be a close race too. And if I could say that Jeff Johnson, the Republican running for governor, is a fantastic person. He has served the people really well, and he will serve the people, I would suggest, much better than our governor of the past 4 years, Mark Dayton.
And Representative Nolan seems that he's losing his seat too. Yeah, it's going to be a good year for Republicans.
Well, yes, that's likewise that seat up in the 8th congressional district, back and forth. The demographics have been changing up in that district a little bit, and again, I think that the challenger, Stuart Mills, he brings some common sense that I think is really appealing. And so often the federal government is getting involved in so many things that maybe they shouldn't be involved, and it's taking away some of our freedoms. And I think that's what Stuart Mills is. People are hearing his message, and they like the practicality. And he's from a business person side he's had to meet payrolls, and his company has employed people and helped them live good lives.
Are you concerned about the reports that Somali Americans are joining ISIL?
Well, it is very concerning, and of course, Somali Americans, they came from Somalia to be able to prosper.
You have a big community here.
We do. We have the biggest.
District.
That's right, the biggest in the United States, of the Somali community right here in Minneapolis, and of course, that's part of my congressional district. That's part of Keith Ellison's district, and yes, it is concerning that youth are being attracted, and I think it's as I talk to the Somali community, and I feel very welcome there and spend a lot of time in that community, the community leaders, the elders do tell me that it's a lack of jobs, lack of a good education, lack of hope. That
do you think Kit has done enough for this community?
I don't, and that's actually what they share with me, is that they don't believe Congressman Ellison has been doing enough, that he's been absent, and so they see our congressman often involved in other worldwide types of things and on the news for that. But again, we've got real issues here, just as you said, our youth being recruited by terrorist organizations, or lack of jobs, lack of good education.
What does motivate them?
It's probably, I would think that it's mostly through the internet. Yeah, and I think that certainly there's examples in the world, whether it's in London or other places of the world, where there are leaders of some mosques that are rather on the fringe, and that they are encouraging that. I hope, and I don't expect that any of the Muslim community leaders here are encouraging that from their people. But again, I think it's a lack of hope and lack of purpose that a lot of the young people are finding. And then when they see these attractive internet videos of, come and fight for something, that appeals to, a lot of times that can appeal to us as a man, that we want to have purpose in our life, don't we? And again, if we don't have for a good hope, for a good job in the future, or a good education, that leaves us without hope and hope and encouragement.
Do you consider yourself as a moderate Republican, as a Tea Party candidate? How do you define yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm conservative in my principles, and I'm a business person. I was a finance major from our local Carlson School of Management, very good business school. I've been in the technology and software business for 27 years. Here in the United States, and also lived and worked overseas. And matter of fact, for the past 7 years, Europe, Middle East, Africa was my responsibility. Most of my business was in the Middle East. How do I define myself? I have an ability people tell me that I have a unique ability to bring people together, to find solutions, and people from all different types of backgrounds and beliefs. And yeah, in business, if people don't trust you, they're not going to do business with you. And I've been successful in my business career. And so I believe that the principles that I stand for are in the best long-term interest of the people. And again, I see our economic situation in this country, we need to turn it around, and we should be prospering, we should be growing and having more success, and people having better paying jobs and more jobs than there are right now.
Will the Republican take the control of the Senate, you think?
Well, I think that's, I hope so. I hope so. And in all honesty, the Senate has been in the Democrat hands now, and under the leadership of Harry Reid. I don't think he's been a very good leader. And again, I think that it'll be good for the Republicans to have control of the Senate as well, with our President Obama in the last 2 years, and to develop some real solutions that can really solve problems in the country.
How would that impact U.S. foreign policy?
Well, I think well, and certainly with President Obama still as our president for the next 2 years, that's an opportunity for, if the Senate majority, if it is in Republican hands, to work closely with President Obama. And I think it will be good to have more input from a conservative majority, Republican majority in the Senate. Now, of course, it's expected that Republicans will maintain control of the House as well. But again, I think this is a good thing, and I think that it'll serve the American people well to have the Senate in the control of the Republicans, and working with President Obama. I'm sure we will, to really solve some of the important issues. So I think it'll help in the area of foreign policy, I really do. If I could say that I think President Obama, he has too often what they call led from behind. And I think that there needs to be more leadership, and I think a Republican majority can help President Obama have more, be a better leader in that regard too.
I'm sure you've heard that Kit has been talking about Iran a lot. Do you agree with him in terms of supporting this policy of engagement with Iran?
I think it is important to talk to people, and yet at the same time it's important to have principles. And there are countries that will not actually take some important steps unless we actually sometimes say, I'm sorry, unless you do this, we can't talk to you. There are times for that. So I think that as a first step, it's always important to know that yes, communications, discussion, dialogue is good, but sometimes you do have to say, hey, unless you do this, we can't talk to you. So sometimes that is important as well. But Iran needs to know that we're serious too, that them possessing nuclear weapons would have an incredible destabilizing force in the Middle East, and that it is in America's best interest that Iran does not have a nuclear program, nuclear weapon program.
Thank you so much for that.
Siamak, thank you so much. Thank you.